Welcome to Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton and Mark Hallock, where we equip pastors to take their churches from declining to thriving by pointing them to a new future and a new hope. Join us weekly for encouragement and practical advice in your pastoring journey. Well, believe it or not, we're back from lunch.
I went to In-N-Out Burger.
Did you really?
I did. You have one here in Denver
Oh,
now.
I'm jealous.
I know.
How was it?
It was good.
What'd you get? Did you get a double-double?
I got a double-double. It was great. And then there's like a scripture on the cup or something.
yeah.
So that's my quiet time. So it's 2 for 1.
This is Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton and Mark Hallock. You can figure which one is which. I'm Dan Hurst. There's Kyle Bierman. We are in Inglewood. This is the state of Colorado.
Yeah,
It
we're in
is.
Colorado.
And where apparently every restroom in every restaurant is locked.
We're not very trusting in these parts.
I don't understand it. You know, Bierman and I went to a place and no, it's locked.
Did you
And
need
that
the
one
code?
said-
You need a code?
You
or
have to have a
something?
code,
Yeah, I know.
or they
Isn't
have
that
a
wild?
button there at the counter or something. And it's, what is this?
I like the gas station where the key's on a big wooden thing.
Oh, yeah,
It's about
yeah,
a foot long.
yeah.
Remember those?
Or the tire.
Oh, the
On a
tire.
little yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, we're gonna. So, one of the fascinating things about coming to Calvary here at Inglewood, which is the church Hallock pastors, is there's a great history. How long have you been here now?
Man, since 2009.
Okay, so this is you have been here longer than most pastors stay.
You're
at a
heading on
church.
20 years, man.
We're getting there.
Wow.
And you're still going through change, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
you have come up with some ideas that I find fascinating. Leading as a shepherd without getting fired.
That's right. Yep.
So that's fascinating to me because obviously this is something that you've thought of, and we've talked about this a bit on the podcast in the past. But you've got some points that you came up with that I think are I'd love to know where your head was when you came up with these
well,
ideas.
yeah. I mean, here's the reality. I mean, leading change with a shepherd's heart, right, is really important. I mean, it's vital in revitalization, as we know. I mean, one of the things, Clifton, you can say. I mean, you know, we're kind of joking when we say, you know, how do you lead change without getting fired? But the reality is, many guys have gotten fired for how they tried to lead change.
We were going to do a podcast on, hey, I got fired because I led change. But when we started looking at who we could get on that podcast, the list was like 2,000 guys, and we couldn't make up our minds.
It's too big.
No, I get that call, and you do too, Hallock, all the time. Hey, how do you lead change without getting people mad at you? How do you lead change without really getting fired?
Yeah.
Because you will. You may.
Yep.
I mean, if you try too quick and you don't understand where the landmines are, and you don't understand when you talked about tactical patience a long time ago. You don't know when you should act and when you should not act.
Right.
What moves are worth risking, what moves aren't.
And that can go both ways, right?
It can
'Cause
go both ways.
You can go too fast.
You can go too fast.
But you can also go too slow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And we get it all the time. How do you manage change? And, really, frankly, you have such a great way with words, Mark, and with putting things in very simple terms. Leading as a shepherd is how you do it. Not leading as a CEO.
Amen. That's right.
You get a CEO, he's going to come in, he's going to change everything.
That's exactly right.
You get a new head coach,
Yep.
he's going to come in and bring his own offensive coordinator. We're going to change the defense. We're going to change our practice times. No, we're not talking about a new head coach. We're not talking about a new CEO.
Yeah.
The church has a CEO. His name is Jesus.
That's right. That's
but
right.
the under shepherd is the shepherd.
Yes.
And you do have to lead your people.
Yep.
If you don't lead your people, they'll just be sheep. They'll just wander all over the place. You'll end up
Exactly. That's right.
chasing them around.
Okay,
Yes.
you know what? This is the first point that you wrote.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But I love the term, and you just brought it up, Clifton, is shepherd's pace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
And that'd be the first thing I would say is moving at a shepherd's pace, not a CEO's pace. Now, when I say that, I'm generalizing, but we're not running a business here, right? We are shepherding the souls of people. And so as we talk about keeping in step with the Spirit, which is so important to be sensitive to what is God doing in this church, right? This is Blackaby's whole identify where the Lord is moving and then join him. We also need to move at a shepherd's pace with where our people are. in terms of change, in terms of readiness for change. You know, we say this all the time, that your first job, especially when you're going into a declining or struggling or plateaued church, is you've got to win the hearts of the people. You've got to love the people first. I mean, listen, I get it. I'm a visionary. I'm a dreamer. Clifton, you are too.
Sure.
Got a million ideas.
I'm a
of
daydreamer,
things, you know, that could that we'd want to change. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to follow you if you don't love them well. And that's what I mean. That's the heart of a shepherd, keeping in pace. Now, at the same time, as you love people, you might be surprised as to they might be more ready for some change than you realize. And then it takes wisdom and courage to actually lead that change, right?
And I think you lead gently, not harshly.
Yeah, right.
But you lead. But I think you lead gently. And sometimes it's happened many times in my life because one of my ministry assistants, April McKay, used to say, Mark has two ways of doing projects. Over the top and way over the top. So I don't, you know, that's my two modes, right?
Two modes.
Either I'm like a puppy. Either I'm sound asleep and not doing anything, or I'm running around terribly. So I don't have anything in between. And so there have been many times when, as an older pastor, I have said, "Well, wait a minute, I'm moving too quick here," and I've backed off. And sometimes you have to do that. You don't understand the pace, and you got to be willing to back off and not say, "Well, that risks my leadership." No, you're just shepherding your people.
That's right.
If you get too far out ahead of them, they can't see you anymore, and you're not shepherding them, and they'll wander off.
So what are some of the things that you look at to define the pace? How do you know that you're on pace?
It's a really good question. I'll answer it, and then Mark can fill in some gaps too. In my mind, I want them to be a little uncomfortable with it, just a little like, you know, this pastor, this is a little uncomfortable. This is something we haven't done before. But I want them to say, I think I know why we're doing it. I think it's worth it. I understand. I've communicated well to them what the end result needs to be and why we're doing it. So if you're never going to, you won't get any change if you just want them to be comfortable all the time, because they'll stay like they are.
Yep.
But you want them to have some discomfort. But you don't want them to have pain. You don't want them to have the pain totally outweigh what they see as the reason for doing this.
Yep.
So it's helping understand before you, and that means spending.
Really
It's not just you've got to do it from the pulpit, from the platform, but you also have to do it in the coffee shop.
That's right.
And in the barn, and when you're playing golf, as you sort of help your members, especially your key leader members, those who are bell cows, as we say, that everybody else will follow. Build consensus among them, and as much as you possibly can, get those people to sell it to the rest, not you. If you can get some of those key leaders, those doorkeepers, and they begin to kind of process it with you, and then they can help sell that. And that's what I look for.
Yeah.
I don't look for, are they all marching in step and heading where I want them to go? I look for, do they understand where we're going? Are they a little bit uncomfortable, willing to do it anyway? And have the bell cows, the movers and shakers, do they really have the same heart that I do? If they don't, then I got to back up and spend some more time with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, he just nailed it. I mean, you need to cast vision. I would say this is true in any leadership direction you want to lead a church. You lead it on both a macro and a micro level. Macro level is a congregational level. That's the preaching of the word. That's from the pulpit. That might be a congregational meeting, big vision. But where it's really going to take root is on the micro level, the personal level, whatever it takes. Going into someone's home and sharing, having some coffee with them and sharing your heart with them in that context.
Do you spend more time on the micro level than you do the macro?
Yes, absolutely. And you've got to do it. And that's why a lot of guys don't do it, because it takes time. But if you want to lead change effectively and in a unifying way, you have to do it. That's part of being a shepherd leader, right? Is you've got to shepherd the flock in that way. I think, too, another thing I'd just say going off what Clifton said, and he's exactly right, you've got to be clear on what the change is and what it's not, why you're doing it, and how it's going to happen. Does that make sense? People don't like, there's a lot of people, some folks, they love change. They get excited about it. Whatever you say, they're going to be all in. But a lot of people, it's not that they oppose it. They just want to understand it. And that takes time to be sensitive to, okay, here's what we're really talking about. We're not talking about this, this, and this. We're talking about this. Okay, that makes you feel a little better. Now, why are we doing this? Let's talk about why we're doing this.
Or listen, there may have been some wounding sometime earlier that you're not aware of, and you're stepping right back into it again.
Wow, that's so true.
And somebody tried to lead them in this way a few years ago and really blew it.
Right.
And you don't know that.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you understand what their history has been and what their history
That's
of
a great
change has
point.
been.
That's a great point. Well, and this leads to the second point here, Dan, which is, so number one is move at a shepherd's pace, not a CEO's pace, but it goes into number two, which is teach the biblical reasons for the change. So again, and the emphasis here is biblical reasons. Mm-hmm. You have to root every change, I believe this, that you lead in the church in the Word of God. If what's driving you is not a biblical conviction about what it means to follow Jesus, what it means to be a disciple, what it means to be a biblical church, the mission of God, then why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, and I mean it. I mean, you want to tie in everything. Like, why do we need a new sign out in front?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Not because we're trying to be a cool church, you know what I mean? But we want to communicate clearly to this community, right? We want to help people to see who we are and what's going on and how we can better communicate the mission of Jesus or whatever. I'm just saying, you've got to give biblical reasons for the change.
When you're doing biblical reasons,
yeah.
Do you approach it both positive and negatively at the same time? Here's the positive reason, and here's the negative reason, or do you establish the fault or the problem first, to define the problem
That's a good question.
first, or do you give them a vision and then support it with how we're not going to reach the vision if we continue the way we are?
What I would say is always lead with compelling vision, and with that, you're going to address some of those negatives. But here's why, man. Vision that is good vision is always rooted in hope. It's a better future for our church. It's a future. God is with us and what God can do. And
it's to glorify God.
It's to glorify God. It's God-centered.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've always got to lead with that. It's God-centered, not man-centered.
It's not brand-centered.
It's not brand-centered.
Our church brand and our church, where church is going to grow. It's Jesus' mission. And really, guys, before you even start, if you're just showing up at a church, just love the people. You got enough to do just loving the people that are there.
That's right.
Trust me, they're all jacked up pretty bad, and you are too. So you got to just love the people that are there. Get to know the community.
Yep.
Help spend extra time with your family because they're in a huge transition too. Don't show up the first 6 months and try to make all these changes. Don't. You're not there on a mission trip, dude. You're going to be there for a long time.
That's right.
So spend some time doing that. And when you do that, you're listening to them and hearing their needs and the hurts they've had and the changes they've had. But before you even start saying, maybe we need a new sign, we need a new children's building, or we need to update our children's building, even we need to update the restrooms, maybe we need to add some kind of staff person or whatever. Before you start any of that, help them understand Jesus has a plan for our church. Mm-hmm. And what is Jesus' mission for us? How can we join Jesus on his mission at this intersection where our church sits? Yeah. How would Jesus want us to reach our community?
That's right.
And preach on that and talk on that and help them come up with some things so that you're not coming up with your ideas. This is how we're going to grow our church.
Right. Yep.
But we're on mission with Christ.
Exactly.
And this is what he would have us to do with his church.
Because here's what you got to remember, and I would say this, the level of change you want to lead better align with the commitment long haul you're making to that congregation.
Okay, well, that brings us really kind of to the third point.
Yep.
I wanted to ask this. Your third point, that may I quote it here?
Please, yes.
Honor the church's past while leading to the future.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you let the people define, obviously you kind of know where they are, you sense where they are, but maybe they don't know where they are.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So do you let them define their past, or do you tell them this is your past and this is where you are and this is where we need to go?
Well, Clifton,
how do you do that?
How would you answer
That's
that?
two different things.
I think so.
Number one, first, and this is important, guys, write this down. First, you listen to their story of their past.
Yes.
And you celebrate any good things they experience.
Good point.
You celebrate their history. You want to know the good things that happened
Absolutely.
here. You want to know the youth choirs that came and went on tours. You want to know the huge vacation Bible schools they had. You want to know Brother Elbert, who was the greatest preacher we ever had, and we had to build a new building when he came. You want to know all of that. And you're going to celebrate all that.
That's right.
And you might even take a few Sundays and just even focus on that and be Sundays of gratitude for what God has done here among these people and the huge ministry footprint that First Baptist has had over the years. That's one thing. But then also at some point, you've got to show them in reality where they've been and if they continue where they're going. So those are two different things. And you can't combine them. And if you start with the bad news first, you'll shut them out.
Yeah.
So you've got to help them see this is where we've been, and we've talked about how grateful we are, but this is where we're going. And one of the ways you can do that is you can take their church directory from 30 or 40 years ago, and most of you, they'll have a church directory someplace because Olin Mills did a lot of church directories back in those days. And anyway, and you can take that church directory and on a map and put it on PowerPoint, on a projector or whatever, put a dot where everybody lived, every church member lived in reference to where your church is located 30 years ago. And then do the same thing for today and put them up side by side and say, look, one time we really impacted this community, this neighborhood. We're not really impacted anymore. Yeah. So we probably have to address that, don't you think? Yeah. And that's how you move them in a nice kind of, but sometimes you got to give visual stuff. And I know Dr. Rayner, he said sometimes he would do that and they would look at it, they go, I don't think that's right. And he'd say, it's right because it's your data. No, that can't be right. Yeah. We're not that bad. I mean, you're going to have some of that. Yeah. But you start with the celebrating and then you have to show them the reality. Probably not in the same meeting. Right. But, over a period of months or weeks.
It's a both thing.
It was interesting in a podcast some time ago. We talked about questions a prospective pastor should ask of a church, of a prospective church. So you're going in view of a call. What questions should you ask? And one of the questions that you guys brought up was asking them what their vision for the future was.
Yeah.
And really understanding where their heart was. And a lot of times it's always they want to relive the past.
Yeah.
But bring that concept in. How do you identify their vision for, other than just ask them, I know that, but how do you really know what the real vision, where does that come from?
Well, I think sometimes their vision for the future is we just don't die.
Yeah.
They got a vision of just survival.
Yep.
One of the things I've done is I've said, where do you see this church 10 years from now? You and I may not be here. We may be with Jesus. But where do you see this church 10 years from now if things don't change? Yeah. And my experience has been, Dan, they're very honest about that. They will really, when you put it out 10 or 12 years, they'll go, yeah, it could be really bad. We may not be here. Now, if you put it out a year or two, no. But you put it out far enough like that, okay, so they will oftentimes agree, if we're not going to be closed, it's going to get much worse and we might be closed. And then you say, where would you like to see this church 10 or 12 years from now? Yeah. And then that's the beginning of a conversation. Well, how do we get there? And a lot of times they will say, I would like to see children back in the building. I would like to see young people back here. I would like to see us once again connect. They'll say that. And again, some of it is nostalgia, but some of it is they just don't know how to put it into words.
Can I share something real quick? This keeps coming through my mind. I know I've shared this at length before in some episode, but I feel like it's timely. I'll try to make it fast. Here was the game changer for our church, for this church. And this is what we try to help our people, our other churches understand in replants. About 6 to 8 months in, we'd gone from 30 people here at this church to about 60 people. Okay. And what the buzz around the congregation was there's Calvary 1.0 and there's Calvary 2.0. Okay. Calvary 2.0 are the new folks that are coming in, Calvary 1.0, and they're starting to mix together, but there's a little bit of weirdness and whatever. And I said, man, we have got to create Calvary 3.0. How are we going to do that? Well, we went on a retreat together is what we did. And here's what we did. Friday night, we had Calvary 1.0. We got the whiteboard out, and we just said, share the story of Calvary. What are all the things the Lord has done? It's exactly what Clifton just said. And all night, man, there's tears, there's celebration. And here's what Calvary 1.0 is experiencing. The joy of Calvary 2.0 going, that is awesome. They're feeling affirmed. They're feeling encouraged, this history, right? The next morning we get up and I switched it. I said, Calvary 2.0, why are you here? Why are you at this church? What do you love about this church? What excites you? And they're sharing, we love the people and we love the old building and we love this community and and so you can imagine what's going on here. tears, hugs, trust is being built. And that all led to our final session where we got the whiteboard out and we got Dave Elliott, the patriarch of the church. I said, Dave, I know your handwriting's bad. It's worse than mine, which is hard to believe. But I want you to write this down. We're going to dream about the future together. And you had 1.0ers and 2.0ers sharing ideas. So it wasn't Mark saying, here's what's going on. It was, now again, I had ideas, but it was coming from them. And when we left that retreat, we left unified, excited. We're moving in a direction together. Because again, the 1.0ers, they were in survival mode, man. They had stopped dreaming.
Right.
And so what they needed was some of these other folks in humility to say, we're in this together. So anyway, so celebrating the past is huge. Moving forward together in a new future is key.
So this is great because this brings us to this fifth point that you have, which really brings us full circle to the first point that you had, and that is the way you worded this, Hallock, was expect resistance but lead with patience. And I want to bring back that term, shepherd's pace.
Yeah.
Because that really is the key. That's what I'm hearing you guys say, that it's vision with patience.
Yeah.
And love. And care and concern, and if they know you love them, they really.
That's it, man.
And look, just telling you, hey, every Sunday morning, hey, I love y'all, or as they walk out the door, I love y'all. What tells them you love them is when you spend time with them.
Right.
And if you're in a normative sized church, which again, almost everybody listening to this podcast is, go to the kids' games. If you really love these people, go to their middle school band concert.
That's right, man.
Go,
and enjoy it.
Or their grandkids' band concert, I should say. Go to their grandkids' band concert with them. Be with them in the hospital, for goodness sakes. Call them on the phone during the week and say, hey, the Lord just brought you to my mind today. I want to pray for you as your pastor. Just love on them. You've got some widows in your church. Right. Find out when their anniversary would be, and you and your wife stop by their house on that day, bring them a little plant, and say, Mildred, we know this is a hard day for you, and Jill and I just want to tell you we love you, and we're so glad you're in our church. Shepherd them and love them.
That's good, man. That's good. Hey, guys, listen, I want to just plug one thing. So just as a resource to help our listeners, our good buddy Walker Armstrong and I this past year wrote a little book called Land Ho, 7 Keys to Navigating the Adventurous and Challenging Waters of Change. And we wrote this whole book basically to help pastors, especially in small to normative sized churches, declining churches, lead change effectively. And we're really excited about this book. It's kind of a fun idea. You have an older retired pastor who comes alongside a young pastor who's just trying to figure out how to lead, and he mentors him through some of the changes that the church is going through.
So it's readable.
It's a readable book. It's not long. We hope it's super practical. But again, that's a resource to help you, because this leading change thing, man, this isn't going anywhere, and it's really important to try to do this well and in a Christ-like way.
Fascinating.
Sounds great.
Thank you guys for spending time with us today on our podcast. We hope that this has been useful. And of course, I'm assuming that we'll have a link for the book in the pod. Yeah, okay, Kyle gave me the thumbs up. So yeah, that book is available to you, and probably a good book for your library and for your people. I would assume your people need to catch that vision also, right? So thank you, Mark and Mark squared.
Mark and Mark.
And
Mark and Mark.
We're going to come back with another of the 16 episodes that Hallock has written overnight, because he couldn't sleep. That's kind of scary when you think about it. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Revitalize and Replant. This podcast is brought to you by the North American Mission Board, where we help dying or struggling churches regain health for the glory of God and the good of their communities. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. To learn more about becoming a replanting pastor, or to explore resources about revitalization for your own church, visit churchreplanters.com.